What's going on, gamers? This new article just launched on Bungie.net, Build Crafting Evolved, and there's a lot of juice in this, so I'm going to go over it real quick and kind of explain everything that stood out to me and kind of what we can see in upcoming changes for Lightfall. And pretty much what they're summarizing here in the beginning is that the current build crafting system relies heavily on a mod system to where you need a lot of mods or you don't have enough energy, so they want to make some changes and improve that as well. The current pre-Lightfall mod system has been built piecemeal over the years and contains a lot of redundancies. Loadout system empowers guardians to suit up in whatever task on the fly, and now you have up to 10 slots available to save multiple loadouts. I don't think this is going to be 10 per character. I think it's going to be 10 across the board, but we could be able to unlock more slots throughout the season or more updates or updated news. Remember, this is just news, so I think from now until Lightfall, Bungie's going to drop a lot of new info on us, so we'll keep going. The single screen system also provides opportunities for players to create and share their loadouts with the community more easily. So if someone asks me, hey, what are you running? I can simply pull up the screen and it could show you everything I'm running. So easy to share loadouts, and it'll make my job a little easier. The mod customization screen will be managing your mods easier with having them all in one place. I think that's huge just because you're going to be able to have all your mods on one screen, and there's no more affinities, so there's no more solar, void, arc, stasis, armor. You're simply going to be able to hover over an armor piece and be able to have all the selections there. I'll show you when we get down below. There's a picture that we can go off of. Like the Guardian appearance screen, this screen creates an easy reference space where you can show all your armor pieces and mods at any given time. Champion counters are being spread between artifact perks, subclass abilities, and more. So each subclass is going to have built-in stunning champion abilities. There's also probably some fragments you can throw on and maybe some cool weapon mods as well. We'll have to wait and see what they throw down at us even more. Updates to mods and the process to bring new exciting builds potential to Destiny 2. We love seeing that. We're taking the opportunity to touch and tune every single mod in Destiny 2. We're removing energy types from the mods and armor. Thank God. Giving players more flexibility in crafting their builds. No more switching between energy types to find what mod you want. That is huge for me. Also, we're reducing the pressure on armor energy by retuning armor mod costs and changing artifact perks to no longer require mod slots. Artifice armor will be your best friend here. We're moving from weapon type specific mods to damage type specific mods to increase flexibility in builds. So I mean, honestly, what they're doing there is just huge, you know, to make it more customization for your Guardian. As you see right here in the photo, you can simply just look over your loadout and it says raid custom loadout, your weapons and your armor and what mods you had on, similar to the dim save loadout feature that we currently use now. So with loadouts, being able to save your loadouts and easily switch between them in game has been a long requested feature and is arriving in Lightfall next month. We're taking the power of quickly switching between carefully crafted builds and making it available in game. Here's how they're going to work, and these are some problems that the team wanted to solve. Quickly swap entire sets of gear without numerous trips to the vault or having to open a second screen. Probably talking about dim there. Decreasing time in between play sessions caused by needing to rebuild the loadout. This happens to me a lot because currently with dim loadouts, I can only go to orbit and click add loadout or equipped. So this will be nice to change on the fly. Great ways to label loadouts for quick identification, such as this one is the raid loadout. So in this paragraph, it says here you can see a warlock with 3 loadouts equipped with 6 slots. I'm showing 5 with 2 loadouts made. So again, you're going to progress through the Guardian rank system. Each loadout label has a sort of colors and icons to choose from, including Crucible raids, trials, gambit, damage types, and more. So as you see here in this photo, it shows your raid custom loadout, your weapons, your armor, and over on the right side, it's going to show you your subclass, you know, what you're using, your rift, your nade, your jump, also your aspect slots, your fragments. That's going to be huge. And then it goes down to your armor slots as well. So the loadout slot preview is going to be amazing, and it's going to be pretty much easy for you and your friends to share loadouts. You can simply just scroll over your gameplay real quick, save that clip, send it to your friend like, yo, this is what I'm using, or, you know, screenshots. Mods and mod customization. When Lightfall goes live, it'll be a new ball game of sorts. Things will be different, and you will have a blank slate to start cooking up new builds for future adventures. Not all current builds in Destiny 2 will be possible upon launch, but there will be a healthy offering to start with. We also are planning to expand upon build crafting options season over season. Problems the team wanted to solve: cut down on time managing mods, remove limitations that created confusing experiences, breaking down barriers to make build crafting fun, giving players more understandable ways to earn mods, remove the need to wait for 801, pause champ there. Yeah, you don't have to go to 801 anymore and wait for those mods to be sold that you don't have. Retune mods to give players more forms of expression while also tamping down on areas of the power creep. This is huge. I'm going to read that again. Retune mods to give players more forms of expression while also tamping down on areas of the power creep. Power creep's huge. We are a little too strong right now, but again, at least they're addressing it. Their new mod customization screen is going to make creating your builds much easier, as you'll be able to see all of your currently applied mods and how they are affecting your stats on one screen. From here, you can quickly select different pieces of gear to start tinkering. As you see here, it's pretty much looking like the transmog screen, like when you would do your guardian and change the shaders and the ornaments. So this is huge. I really like the UI, and it's going to be cool to just see all our mods in the slots and be able to pick on the fly and customize the way we want. In this photo, there's a tab on the top of the screen so you can switch over to see what perks and stats your current weapons have without having to switch back to your character screen. So right here on this photo, it shows you your kinetic, your energy, your heavy, what mods you're running, or what perks. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to earn those mods. Mods were unlocked on a variety of ways, but from the most part, you were waiting on 801 to have them in stock. We wanted to remove this waiting game and make it all mods available on a clear path. All mods will be unlocked by achieving Guardian rank 6. Most players who have spent some time in the game will start out at rank 6 and instantly have all the mods ready to go off the gate. So pretty much how it is now. If you have all the mods available, you will have them all available in Lightfall. New players will unlock mods as they climb through the ranks. Look out for more info on Guardian rank soon. So I'm thinking the way this is said, as long as you've played a little bit before Lightfall, you're good, but we'll see. So the mod application details. Mod energy types are being removed, eliminating the need for 4 different versions of given armor pieces for build crafting and purposes. Some like me, this is huge because I have a lot of different pieces and I don't have to worry about it anymore. You're just going to use your highest stat armor. We're also converting the combat style socket into an additional mod socket for that armor slot, helmet, gauntlets, etc. We are also reducing the energy cost of many of those mods, helping give you more opportunities to mix and match. If I've read this correctly, it seems like Artifice armor is going to be huge for this, so make sure you guys are grinding the dungeons. Additionally, armor mods that previously provided benefits to weapons based off the archetype, for example, hand cannon loader, will now instead provide benefits to weapons based on their damage type. This levels the playing field for all weapons archetypes and should make it easier to put together a powerful suit of mods to benefit multiple weapons in that loadout, sharing a damage type. I actually think that's kind of cool. So now I don't have to run hand cannon loaders or submachine gun loaders if they're the same archetype. They can just roll. But that's not all. Artifact mods are also being translated to unlockable perks. They will no longer needed to be socketed, but rather unlocked for the duration of the season once you earned and are passively applied to your loadout. So that's going to be huge as well. What does that mean? Let's just say an anti-barrier weapon of the season is pulse rifles. The change means you no longer need to equip a mod for this. So right now, when you're currently playing and you have a unstoppable grenade launcher on those gauntlets for energy 7, you don't need to put those on no more. All of your pulse rifles, unless they have an intrinsic champion mod, will automatically have the anti-barrier applied. So if you unlock it in your artifact, it's going to pretty much be on your armor and on your guardian. As you can imagine, having every single artifact mod active at the same time would be a little OP. This is where I really don't understand where they're going with this. Because of that, you won't be able to unlock them all at the same time, and we'll have to choose which 12 perks you have active at any given time. So pretty much they're going back to the old artifact system. You could unlock every single artifact mod, but instead of unlocking them all like we're currently doing now, if you want them active on your guardian, you need to select which ones you want to use, which I'm going to keep reading. However, we do want to make it easy as possible to change up your build, so resetting the artifact will not cost anything. I remember when resetting the artifact cost me over 100,000 glimmer just because I was build testing, so that's good. I think it's a good change. You don't have to worry about putting those mods on. They're just going to be on at all times, and you could focus on your build as well. So what does that mean for Artifice's armor extra artifact mod slot? Starting in Lightfall, Artifice armor will have a new unique mod slot that grants 3 additional points to your character stats like strength, mobility, intellect. This will help you round out your stats as you perfect your builds. Again, this is why I said Artifice armor is going to be huge. So you're going to get stat bonuses for having a full set on, or maybe a few pieces. I'm definitely going to be farming right before the end of this season and making sure I have a full goated set. Once you got your loadout set and your mods managed, it's time to dive in. We're going to make some gameplay updates for the complement the above changes. Game set match. One thing that we have always played a huge part in now is how you set up your builds is match game. I hate match game. Pretty much been a requirement that you diversify your damage types and end up facing shields, and you feel hopeless to break. We want to remove the restriction and allow more freedom with how you create your builds and take advantage of the new element specific mods. To reach that goal, match game is being removed from high difficulty activities. Get it out. We don't want it anyway. We're making a few tweaks to how you can do damage to different types of shields. Base shield resistance to non-matching damage types across the entire game is being adjusted to 50%, similar to Gambit now. And we will have some other ways for you to do bonus damage to shields when we tell you before launch. I think this is huge. It's going to help synergize our builds. That's a dub from Bungie. Match game was so annoying. I mean, what happens when you do an end game activity and it had match game? You just throw on Arbalist. Huge changes here with the champions. Wanted to go over this. Champion builds are going to change. We want to make how you counter champions more logical. That should also make it easier for you to learn how to deal damage with them in the first place. So while you have a selection of anti-champion artifact perks available to you based on your current weapon selection, we are also adding some anti-champion options to your subclasses to complement your weapons. Barrier champions, Solar, Void, and Strand counter. So when using volatile rounds from your weapon, it will also pierce the barrier and stun the champion. When a player is radiant, their attacks pierce the champion's shields and stun them. Strand will also have a method of piercing barriers. This is huge. I mean, you throw a bonk hammer or you throw knives on the hunter or the titan, you're going to be able to break that anti-barrier. Warlocks probably wouldn't melee. They'd probably be on Void using volatile rounds, or, you know, they might be using Strand, but I was just thinking Solar in my head for that. Like, wow, that's going to be OP. And I don't have to run any mods I don't want to, or weapon. Overloads. So that's going to be your Arc, Stasis, and Void. Damaging an overload champion by triggering the jolted condition stuns the champion, likewise suppressing the champion, as does slowing them with stasis. Yeah, that's going to be busted. So pretty much we're going to be freezing every single champion that is an overload and shutting them down. Also, you can throw nades to suppress them. I'm actually impressed with these changes so far. Let's get on the unstoppable champions. Those are Arc, Solar, Stasis, and Strand. Blinding an unstoppable champion instantly stuns them, encasing them in stasis and then shattering it, or it triggering a solar ignition on them, likewise stuns them. Strand will also include an unstoppable champion counter. So this is going to just go pretty much to your builds, your subclasses, your synergy with your fire team or solo gameplay, and also weapons. You know, you can use something like a chill clip fusion rifle and take advantage of that so you can shatter champions. If I'm doing this right, if I'm actually thinking a strategy in my head correctly, I think with a chill clip fusion rifle, you can pretty much stun every single champion if I do that correctly, but we'll see. Build videos will be launching in Lightfall. So we're going to go over the armor changing mods. With the combat mod socket going away, many mods that once belonged in the Charge with Light and Elemental Well subfamilies of mods now fall under a revamp system known as Armor Charge and moved to the armor slot specific sockets. The Armor Charge mechanic functions as follows. Socketing an armor mod that only uses the Armor Charge system gives you access to the system. So you don't need to put on Taking Charge anymore to become Charged with Light or Elemental Charge. If you throw on High Energy Fire and you pick up an element, you will be Charged with Light, which is good because it opens up more build diversity in my opinion. The functionality of Taking Charge, picking up an orb to gain 1 stack, is now granted to you whenever you have an Armor Charge mod equipped, like I just said. Many mods that previously created elemental wells or give you stacks of Charge with Light have been converted instead to create an orb of power, which is huge. We can create tons of orbs of power for the hunter builds, also to get your super faster. You can now hold between 0 and 3 stacks of Armor Charge by default, which appears as a buff in the status effects area. By socketing chest armor mods charged up, you can increase your maximum number of armor charges stacks as high as 6. That's going to be huge with firepower builds. Hopefully that they do something about that, because if we're getting ×6 charged and then spamming firepower nade builds, that could be busted. But again, there's going to be a lot of changes coming up until Lightfall. Some mods provide a passive ongoing benefit while you have any stacks of armor charge. While you have one of these armor mods equipped, every 10 seconds a stack of armor charge falls off if not consumed by something else. So pretty much what they're trying to say there is if you can't just run around with stacked. They want you to become stacked, charged, and then use it. I still think we'll find a way to spam firepower builds, but we'll see. Players can extend this decay time by socketing an extended charge mod in the class item socket. Or I just keep reading and read what I just read right there. Perfect. For example, Font of Wisdom in the head socket will now provide a bonus gain to intellect while you have any armor charge active. All right, so that's huge. Font of Wisdom is a busted mod. If you stack that with like Ashes to Assets or hands-on, you can get your super in about a minute to a minute and a half in PvE. So I'm definitely excited to see those changes to Font of Wisdom. It is definitely a mod that is slept on. Some mods consume 1, 2, 3, or all stacks of armor charge on a particular trigger, granting you an instantaneous benefit when they do. Well, that might be your firepower build right there to spam nades, so that might be gone. A few other mods: Stacks on Stacks in the legs socket, Powerful Friends and Radiant Light in the head socket, Time Dilation in the class item socket. Modify the armor charge system for you without providing you with a specific benefit while you have armor charge. Finishers will now consume armor charges and not dip into your super energy. All right, so that's huge. Maybe we can hit special finishers now and it takes a armor charge instead of your super energy. That is something I definitely want to look into as well. Elemental wells are changing. Many of the mods previously created to benefit from elemental wells are being changed, instead focusing on orbs of power. Some aspects of elemental wells aren't going away entirely. Instead of creating elemental wells, each subclass will now create damage type specific spawned objects. So think of it like this: when you're using a stasis weapon or a stasis subclass, when you produce a stasis charge on the ground and you pick it up, or you make ionic traces with a warlock on the Stormcaller, every single subclass is going to have that now. So instead of making an elemental well, you're going to be making ionic traces on arc, fire sprites on solar, void breaches for void, stasis shards will be continued to use for stasis, and strand will also have an object that you will make as well. The ability to spawn these objects will not come from armor mods, but when your subclass instead. For example, while the Ember of Tempering fragment is active for solar hunters, it will now create a fire sprite when you defeat an enemy with a solar weapon. So, Harmonic Siphon. If you kill an enemy with a solar weapon that matches your subclass and you get 3 kills, it drops an orb of power. Pretty much that's how it's going to be now. I think this is going to be really good, but something I want to look into is being able to make a lot of these, finding a way to make a lot of fire sprite on the solar, pretty much putting them all on the ground and being able to find ways to customize our builds and pretty much make us stronger than we already are. I don't think Bungie will let us do that, but we'll see. Picking up any of these objects will grant ability energy or have other effects depending on your subclass build. For example, if you're running a solar subclass and you have the new Ember of Mercy fragment equipped, picking up a fire sprite will grant you the restoration effect. The number of these types of interactions will be limited at launch, but we intend to add this system moving forward. If I just read that correctly, you're going to be able to have unlimited restoration effect on your hunter. Even though I can already do that now, it's going to be easier, because what I do on my hunters, I just run Empyrean and I just kill stuff with my solar weapon and it extends my restoration. But that right there is going to be interesting. Balancing act. While the main goals were here to streamline the build crafting experience, we also have to do some tuning while we are under the hood to address some of the power spikes certain build combinations created. As we said previously, we're looking at every single mod to where you can change, move the other slots, transitions to other abilities, or removed. With the removal of armor energy type and the consolidation of mechanics into armored charges, some mods become redundant and were removed, which I understand. Some ability were energy gains, stat bonuses, and weapon damage bonuses, and mods have been reduced. Not all previous builds are going to be able to recreate one-to-one, but the system has been changed enough to open up new possibilities with new mods and ability combinations, which is good. An example of mods that aren't coming back along the ride are Warmind cells. All right, this part kind of sucks. These are a relic of a different time and had already been nerfed in the past. They've had a good run, but these mods will be depreciated and no longer be available starting in Season 20 to make their new options to consider when crafting the preferred combat style. So why did Bungie bring back Akelos weapons for the 3rd time then? Probably just Revolt shot, but yeah. Rip Warmind cells. The balls are gone. I'm going to miss them. Looking ahead, we've covered a lot now, and they're going to be looking for a lot of questions and changes on the horizon. They'll have more to say on this alongside exciting changes coming along with Lightfall's release next month. With a system like this, the best way to fully understand is to get your hands on it and start tinkering with your builds. As with everything involved in supporting Destiny 2, the evolution is not the end point. They have plans to continue tuning and improving the system, adding new build crafting, and they're excited to see us use it. So overall, huge changes. I just wanted to get through it all and kind of go over all this important stuff, show you the new UI and show you the custom loadouts. And I can't wait to make tons of videos on this. But again, I feel like just updating you guys on what was said in today's article would keep you guys up to date. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.